I've been creating things for 40 years now, fireplaces, sculptures which have become my passion, and I can say with pride that all over the years I've created a business enterprise that now employs upwards of 100 people. Each morning when they arrive at work, I kiss their pretty cheeks and sometimes their pretty lips too, but not with everybody. Our current production is around 3,500 fireplaces a year. For me, however, it's not the numbers that count so much as the structure that has built up around them, the people I work with. I've never considered shifting my production abroad or out of Europe. I've always had a weakness for playing around on paper like this, discovering new forms, new ways of presenting a fire. It's my style, my starting point. It is true that I have often given more weight to style and visual harmony than to function. At the same time, it is essential that these elements of form and function complement each other. I began my career with a doctorate in sociology, and I have traveled a lot. I think I must have hitchhiked around Europe 2 or 3 times, and I've hitched on boats around the Atlantic too. I was able to relate my study to my travel in Alaska and Mexico. Thereafter, teaching literature for several years in Paris. For various reasons, I moved down here. I found this ruin on the south of France and I settled here. I began with a sculpture workshop, but I must say that life was hard for a while. That's a fireplace I made for my own personal use, never dreaming it could become the basis for a productive enterprise. I arrived in this windowless, roofless ruin one November. It snowed that year, and this fireplace was very welcome. One day someone asked me for a similar one, but I prefer the notion of a rotating model, and that idea gave birth to the first gyrofocus. The still fireplace didn't exist in Europe in the late 60s, and those I was producing were initially regarded with suspicion as futuristic anomalies. People tended to laugh and make fun of my efforts. This was a model for a much bigger thing I did, a sculpture about 10 times its size. Elle est à peu près au 10e là. Elle était petite. When I was a child at my parents' home in the country, I must have been 14 or 15, perhaps less, I was used to go and see the blacksmith. I remember watching him welding and how fascinated I was to see the molten steel running together like hot chocolate. In this way you get to create whole fantasy worlds, tiny volcanoes. You get the most marvelous shapes in the wells when you melt the metal, and I love that, and I still love that. It must be obvious that I'm very strongly attracted to fire. For me it is, of all the forces of nature, the most mysterious, the most creative, transforming other elements, as it does, into heat and light. For me, that's something really miraculous. You have only to look at the fire, only to listen to it. I'm afraid that many people don't listen. They hear but they don't listen. They look but they don't really see. This is bronze. I love modeling clay for bronze sculpture. I fancy that within the clay, within the metal, discussions are taking place. The different elements are going with each other, sometimes even quarreling. You can't imagine. Sometimes I even hear secrets, and that's really special.